the 7 on?
No.
Or you wait?
Did that on there.
Oh, I thought you started done.
Dusty knows where the heck's at. Right, Jackson.
That's fine.
Yes. Did you not call him?
I was gonna put
I
something
don't
on
know.
there.
He's gonna call him.
Oh, I know.
Meeting of the Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board to order at 3 p.m. Roll call.
Dr. Luna Najera. Mr. Del Palacio.
Present.
Mr. Ortega Romero. Mr. Chapman.
Here.
And Ms. Sun.
Here.
Thank you.
Following the Pledge of Allegiance, Vice President Chapman will be doing the land acknowledgement statement. Please join me and stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the Acapulco O'odham and Teposh peoples, and pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. We recognize their enduring connection to this land, their rich culture and language, and invaluable contributions they have made and continue to make in our community. As we gather today for the Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board meeting, let us remember the significance of these lands and honor the legacy of the original stewards of this territory. Thank you.
And now will be call for the public hearing to discuss the first revision to the fiscal year of 2024-2025 budget. Superintendent Guys.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'd like to invite up our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Ken Hicks.
Good afternoon, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Kais, colleagues and community members. Before you today for a public hearing to do our first presentation of our revised budget. As you may remember back, or I don't know if I did give an update on it, we were not required to do a December budget revision, so we did not do a December budget revision. Normally that is only if you're declining enrollment and you overestimate enrollment. We did not, and so we have an increase in enrollment. When you have an increase, the only requirement is that you do it before May 15th. But what we do have is a situation that we are not changing any of the numbers from our proposed and adopted, but we are moving some funds over from M&O over to capital for the transaction that the governing board approved last night. So to be able to complete the transaction, we need to move the budget capacity, $25 million from M&O over to capital. And so this abbreviated budget revision is not updating our carry forward balances, and it is not updating to student counts. It is just moving the funds over so we're able to complete the transaction. And it is a public hearing, and public hearings are required when we revise the budget, and so that just allows any community member that get up and like to make a statement to do that. So I will, unless there's questions for me, we will let the community.
Board members, any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, members of the board. I am again Diana Morrow. I'm a parent to a student of the Tolleson Union High School student. And as I mentioned last night, my family has been in this community for 100 years. With that many years in this community, it is no surprise that I have family, friends who work for the Tolleson Union High School District. Some of them are staff, some of them are teachers, there's even one administrator. I've been in the legal community for 20 years. During that time, I was a litigation paralegal for a state bar president, and we worked together to revise ARS 33931. My involvement in that was bringing the community together and gathering constituents and preparing for committee hearings and attending those committee hearings. Due to the expedition of this hearing, I've only had a short opportunity to review the proposed changes to the budget. But I noticed that despite being told last night by Superintendent Gaius that the Isaac School District bailout would not affect our schools, today, you guys are slashing instruction salaries and benefits for our teachers while giving yourself $25 million to build a new office building, which is not only unnecessary, but it's inappropriate. Last night, President Sun, you lectured the community about being good neighbors, but you're not a good neighbor. Today, you choose to slash salaries and benefits for our teachers and staff members, just to build yourself a $25 million building that not only does this constituency not want, but you guys don't need, you have a building. The activity of this board does not reflect the constituency, but that is no surprise, because it appears that the board is more concerned with spending the rainy day fund than it is with the day-to-day operations of the high schools, which is supported by the fact that this board continues to conduct business during the hours of which its constituency is at work. These statements are made today so that the record reflects that the constituent does not approve. And the board's actions continue to go against what the constituency wants. Please hear me when I say that my grandfather and his father of over 100 years ago did not build up this community so that you folks, non-members of this community, no affiliation, can destroy it within years. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public statements? If so, please approach the podium.
Real quick, Mr. Hicks, would you mind just addressing a few concerns? I just want to make sure for the record, this isn't impacting employee salaries, benefits, or the operations to the school, the agreement that we approved last night, or the movement of these funds?
Madam President, members of the board, the movement of the $25 million out of M&O into capital for the completion of the transaction that the board approved last night, that is our reserves, so that is where we put our reserves, and so this is using the reserves, so it is not affecting any actual employees at this point. It's future, and our anticipated compensation increases that we'll be bringing to the board are not impacted by this.
So the 8% we announced earlier this month, I guess, isn't going to be impacted by the movement or the agreement that we approved last night?
Madam President, members of the board, the 8% was just mentioned by one board member and not approved by the governing board, so that still has to come to the governing board, but it will have no impact on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
So because because I'm on the telephone, what Mr. Hicks had mentioned, and I think I heard a little bit of what he was speaking. But to reiterate, our staff won't be impacted, our students will be represented, will still be able to give parents generous and well-deserved raises when that time comes from our CFO. We're not slashing salary. Our staff and our students are making coming from reserves. Is that right?
Good afternoon.
My name is Christine Chavina, and I'm a resident and also a city council member of the city of Tolleson.
And I just have a question because I appreciate that you have clarified the information, but that's not what the paperwork says. Well, so will there be a revision then? Because
Go ahead,
the
Jan.
proposal and the current are $25,000 apart.
$25 million.
I'm sorry, $25 million apart. So just a question. So there'll be a revision on this so that we know that it does not affect the staffers' salaries?
It says instruction. Your proposal.
Go ahead, Ken.
Madam President, members of the board, for clarification, a school district is required to budget to the complete full capacity of their budget limit. If they do not, they lose the funding. So we put additional contingency funding in one of those cells so that we do not lose the funding. We put it in the salaries and benefit line, and so that's why we were not to lose that money.
Yeah, so Madam President, if I can further elaborate, if you were to look at our budget for last year, it has an extra $73 million in instruction that we did not actually spend. That was money we carried forward in maintenance operations. If you do not take that $73 million and put it somewhere in your budget, that $73 million is cut. So you have to put the number somewhere when you have reserves and contingencies that you intend to roll over. And that is the only number that's been reduced.
And Madam
And where is
President,
that
members of the
number on
board,
your
for
spreadsheet?
I'd like to remind everyone in this meeting to keep order. Please be recognized. We can't have two people speaking at the same time. I will allow as many back and forth, but allow the person at the podium to finish, and then we will switch as much as we need it. Fair enough? Okay, please proceed.
Madam President, members of the board, in addition, we will be revising the budget in May because we will have to get to the actual budget limits as our ADM and other numbers and other carry forwards in that fund and many other funds will have to be revised to actuals from the previous year. We will be doing that the first meeting in May.
And that's something that we typically do.
Madam President, members of the board, yes.
Thank
You're welcome.
If anyone else feels free to come to the podium for additional questions and comments, you are welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the dialogue from the CFO, members of the community. I am also a resident of the Tolleson Union High School District community, a proud graduate of West Point High School, and I also have a brother who goes to La Jolla, who's going to graduate this year. And I'm also a proud vice president of Littleton Elementary School District Governing Board, a feeder district of the Tolleson Union High School District. And you know, it's been a very, very big, harsh discussion. I think conversations like this are very, very impactful and they can get very emotional. But I think it's important to recognize that the Tolleson Union High School District Governing Board last night made a really, really big leap and gave a lot of community members that around public education hope and the fact that students in that Isaac School District will be able to go to school, they will be able to have, the families there will be able to have reassurance that they will be able to send their kids to school and teachers will get paid. From what I understand from this proposal, $25 million will be leased to the Isaac School District through property for the middle school, and then that money will come back in an investment. So this money will come back to Tolleson Union High School District community. It's not going away. It's going to come back to us. So I think that's really important. That's really, really fiscally responsible of the board to make decisions like that, because we don't want money going away without it not coming back to our community. So I think that's important, and I recognize that as a fellow board member, it's important that decisions like that are being made, and that it will not impact the community. So I want to thank the board for keeping that in mind when they made this decision.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments. If there's no further statements, questions from the audience, we will proceed to the approval of the regular agenda.
Reconvene the regular meeting.
Okay.
And then I'll motion to approve the regular agenda.
So do I need to open this up again?
No.
Devin's.
Mr. Del Palacio,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
Ms. Sun.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now we'll move to the action discussion item for the approved the first revision of the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget. Superintendent, guys.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, it is recommended that the governing board approve the first revision of fiscal year 24-25 budget.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the first revision.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call?
Mr. Del Palacio,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
and Ms. Sun.
Yes. I motion to adjourn this meeting. Can I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Del Palacio,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman,
Yes.
and Ms. Sun.
Yes.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned at 3:17 p.m. Thank you, everyone.